When I was in third grade, Mrs. Meininger made a boy named Emmanuel sit in a garbage can as a punishment. And that began my education in social injustice. I lived in a steel town on the Ohio River. They called our communities melting pots because we were so diverse. And what that really meant was that everybody was prejudiced about someone and something. It was the early 60s, and the world was changing, but it was only trickling down to us. And as kids, we often felt like we were just trying to figure out how to honor what we felt like was right in our heart with what everyone else was telling us. It was complicated. It was really complicated. In sixth grade, they moved us to a really big elementary school, so now they're busing us. And it really is a melting pot. We're coming from all areas of the town into this school. And for the most part, sixth grade felt really exciting to me. My teacher was Mrs. Saunders. I adored her. I adored her because she affirmed my love of words, my love of reading, my love of writing, and most of all, she encouraged me to use my words out loud, passionately, to state my opinion. But even Mrs. Saunders had these vestiges of humiliation as inspiration as education. So Mrs. Saunders would give these weekly tests, and then when the tests came back, she would actually make us get up and move our desks and line them up according to our scores. Best score, first seat, first row. Down the rows, worst grade, last row, last seat. I can't even imagine what was going on down on that side of the room. We all hated it. It was awful for everybody. There was only one boy in the class who liked it because he was always in the first or second seat. And he always used to goad me to try to compete with him for those seats. And I thought he was such a jerk because I just wanted to be in the middle. I didn't want to stick out. And mostly I just wanted to be next to David, who was a solid BC student, okay? So I wasn't inspired. I was trying to do worse to get next to David, okay? So much for that system. And Mrs. Saunders was one of the good ones. My health teacher, Mrs. Cross, can you believe that? Her name was Mrs. Cross, was so crotchety, she threw my shoulder bag into the hallway because she had forbidden us to have those. She didn't teach health. She showed us films that were so ambiguous that I thought a tampon, because it was the internal protection, was something I swallowed into my stomach, okay? The only way she could give us grades was to call us up and do a nail check. She would actually put nail check marks in the book. You got marked for your grooming if you kept them short enough, if you kept them clean. Bad marks for biting your nails, bad marks for dirty nails, really bad marks for nail polish. And we were, as girls, all really mad because there was one girl in the class getting away with murder. Her name was Cora. She happened to be an African-American girl who was probably 6 feet in the 6th grade. And Cora had nails this long. Now, we all knew Cora, we liked Cora, we had no problem with Cora, we just had a problem with her nails. And we wanted someone to make her cut them because we played basketball with Cora. We had an intramural league after school, and you could not rebound against, well, I can't rebound against anybody, but you could not rebound against Cora because there is nothing more fearsome than the sound of those nails on the ball. And Cora knew that, and Cora would come down with her nails perilously close to your face. And so nobody was having any fun anymore. Now, I had no basketball skill, but I was organizationally sound. So they made me a captain of the team, and it was my job to make sure every girl on my team got to play a fair amount. Everyone had to sub out, everyone had to play. And we figured out that the other team wasn't doing that because as long as they kept Cora in, they were winning. Now, this is where I would really like to think that adults might step in, you know? I felt like in a lot of ways this year, the adults let us down. The teachers should have done something. And in the end, I got pushed by my team to approach the teacher. I knew better than to bring up the nails, but I did say this would be more fair and more fun if Cora had to sub out like everybody else. I have to take my best players out. She should have to come out too. So the teacher had her sub out and sit out. And I thought, okay, my work here is done. End of story. A couple days later, I'm on the bus to go home. I'm sitting with my best friend, Alice. And Cora comes on the bus, walks down the aisle, reaches over Alice like she's not over there, and reaches across my face and slashes my face with her nails. And she says, when we get off the bus, I'm going to get you. That's girl talk for a fight. And everybody's buzzing, because this is going to be good entertainment. I had never seen a fight. I didn't know what was going to happen, and I was paralyzed. I was just paralyzed. Alice was a tough cookie, and she leaned over as we got close to the bus stop, and the kids are actually at this point very quietly chanting, "Cora's going to get you." And she says, "So what's your plan? What are you going to do?" Well, I had no plan. I got up like a little sheep. I walked off the bus. I never once thought to approach the bus driver, because this is 1960-something. He wouldn't have helped me. And I got out there, and the kids gathered behind me and pushed me into the center, and I'm facing 6-foot Cora. I don't remember who started the icebreaker portion of this fight, but Cora was yelling, and I knew I had to say something, so I said the only thing I could think to say. I said, "Why are you so mad at me? Why are you so mad?" And she said, "Because you called me the N-word." And time suspended. Because in that moment, all I wanted, besides not getting hurt, was for Cora not to think I had done that. I was devastated. And I said to her, "That's not what happened." And she said, "You got me kicked out of the game, and you said it was because and she said the word again. And I said, "Cora, I got you to sub out because we can't play against you. You're too good. We just want you to play fair. Just play fair. Sit out once in a while." And she said something back, and then I said, "You know, we've been on this bus together all year. We've always gotten along. You know I didn't do that. You know I didn't say that." Now, I'd like to believe that it was my rhetoric that got her not to hit me. But actually, when I followed her gaze, she was looking up. Alice had run home across the street, and Alice's mother was hanging out the window. But again, I'll say to you, why didn't she come down and help me? Okay? She made her presence known, and the tension went out of the situation, and we went home. And this is where I find the courage comes to play. It took courage for me to get off the bus. It took courage for Cora to walk away from this situation. And when I got home, my mother, while she had great sympathy for me, had equal sympathy for Cora. And she said, "You just sit and think for a minute what it would be like to need those nails. Why does Cora need the nails? What's going on in Cora's life that she feels like she has to have those?" Pretty big lesson in social injustice. Next day, I had to go to the bus stop. I was scared shitless, but I went, and nothing happened. We didn't talk for the rest of the year, but nothing bad happened. And when I got to school and I sat down in my desk next to David, thanks to the scores, David looked at me and he said, "What happened to your face?" And I said, "Cora scratched me." And he said, And I said, And that was the end. But I've never forgotten that, ever. And I've waited to tell this story because racial stories are tense. Do you know what I mean? And what I take away from that is it doesn't matter where you are, what's happening. The answer is not to hit, it is to talk. Thank you.